He's also our sergeant at arms. He's somebody who's a super multitasker. If he was going to be assigned to be the double of somebody, he'd probably double with Chris, because he'd be the perfect partner, because he loves history. And in fact, I'm thinking he's going to add club historian to his resume at some point. He's a real deep thinker. And when I asked him about April Fools, he said, it's funny until somebody gets hurt. Then it's hysterical. I hope that's not the transition into a speech. Please help me welcome Tim. Persuasion is like a first date. Persuasion is like a first date. Tim Wong.
See the word? Yeah. Okay. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. How many people like to talk about taxes? How many people like to talk about broken down cars and depressing subjects? Good, because I won't be talking about those things today. Today, I want to talk about persuasion and how it relates to comparable of a first date. Aristotle broke down persuasion into a rhetoric, and within that rhetoric he broke down to 3 different proofs: ethos, pathos, and logos. And I'll go through each one throughout my speech. And before I do, I need you guys to participate with me and think about the best first date you've ever had. And if it isn't with your current significant other, I will not say anything. Just keep that in your head. Think about what they're wearing. Think about what their tone was. Were they gesturing forward? Were they gesturing backwards? And think about their vocal variety. You know, were they sincere? Were they excited? Were they nervous? And at the end of the day, think about, was this person qualified to be a future somebody? Because when I grew up in church, my pastor told me, when you date someone, make sure that this person's married. This is someone you want to spend your life with. Well, going back to Aristotle's proofs, we'll go through what we identify through each part of the date. And I'll explain this thoroughly. Ethos is a term with one proof. It is what we call credibility, or what I call being the brand, or being the product. What does this mean by credibility? Well, obviously you see pictures here of people being formal. Now, when I mentioned you to remember what the person looked like, I want you to remember, were they dressed nice for the occasion? Were they presentable? Because when you go on a first date, you really don't know what the person's really about. So the first thing that you ever notice in a first date is what they wear. Because what they wear represents who they are and what they plan on being as a person throughout the time you date them, if you choose to. It's anywhere between clothes, nice hair, shoes. I can tell you my first date, I wore a nice black shirt, a nice sports coat, nice jeans, and my sneakers. But they're brand new sneakers. So what I was trying to portray to my audience, especially to my date, is I'm a nice formal guy. At the same time, I'm a very casual guy. And that's what I was trying to portray to my audience and also to my date. Now the second one, pathos, emotion. What this really means, you are the marketer. You are focusing on your target audience. Who is your target audience? Well, obviously, this woman or man agreed to go on a date with you, so they like you to an extent. What you need to do is, what extent are they willing to listen to you? Are they, hopefully not, desperate? Or are they eager to get to know an adventurous person? Or are they get to know a romantic person? You got to get to know that person and identify their emotions. Like a marketer, you got to identify your audience, your target audience, to identify, is this the right target to sell my product to? This is what usually go through the date. You guys talk about 20 questions of what's your favorite color, your favorite place. You get to know your date. That's the emotion. And this is how you sell yourself, and this is the term of persuasion. Because in order to persuade someone, you got to know who they are. Because if they are not someone you're compatible with, There's no point in selling yourself because it's not going to work. Logos. Intellect. Now, when you talk about yourself, make sure you talk about something that's true about you, and that makes sense to the person. You don't want to say something like, oh, I have to rock climb and all that stuff, but in reality, you don't. Because if you lie about yourself, that's going to show up later in the future if this person decides to go out with you. Now, the reason why I did a first date kind of thing is I was trying to make sure that we understand what persuasion really is as far as breaking down the three proofs, from credibility to emotion and to intellect. And every day we can use this not only in our Toastmasters, but everyday life. For instance, the guest that was here last week, he told us, you guys should dress formal for your speeches. Well, I kind of agree. Like Jost did for, well, not every speech, depending on your speech. Like Jost did for her speech, she dressed for her part, to persuade us in the speech, to convince us what the speech is really about. Like today I'm talking about first dates. I am dressed nicely. Again, cherish this look. You will never see this again for a while. But I emphasize a lot that when you do a speech, no matter if it's in Toastmasters or in your company or even on your first date, you dress the part. Because no one wants to see someone in a t-shirt and jeans and go on the first date. No one wants to see that same outfit in a corporate meeting. You want to look for the part because that's credibility. Because if people don't know you, you want to look the part. And on top of that, you want to know the audience and make sure you're saying the right information to the right people. And then also on top of that, you also want to be credible. Your information needs to be credible. And your vocal variety needs to be sincere, because if you're just low-key like this, saying, the stock market is doing great, our company is doing wonderful. No one's going to believe you. You're not interjecting enough, you're not enthusiastic enough, and you're not embracing who you are in the belief. And that's what persuasion is taking an idea, trying to sell that idea. So persuasion in its own essence is be the brand, dress yourself up, pack yourself, have emotion, get to know your product. Be the marketer, know your product, sell yourself to the audience, and also intellect. Not directly to your date, explain why you're the best person to be dating around. Convince this other person, you know what? I am the best guy you could ever date. I'm sure you're not going to tell it to the other person. It's like, there's a reason why I want you to date that guy and that guy. No, you're not going to say that at all. What you're going to do is indirectly say, I'm this person. I think I can live up to my expectation of being the best boyfriend or husband that you could ever have. And that's what you do in real life. I mean, not you're going to present, I want to be your husband if you share it like that. What you want to do is present an idea that overcomes any possible idea. Wipe out all doubts in that person's mind, say, my product is the best, I am the best one for you. Please buy my product. Please buy me. And persuasion combines all these types of proofs that Aristotle simply performs, from ethos, pathos, and logos. And hopefully you guys can take that in your future speeches, not only in your corporations, but